It's Paris's first snowy day of winter. People made sure to get outside, build snowmen, and throw snowballs before the nightly curfew at 6 p.m. France has the EU's longest curfew imposed in 25 regions of eastern France. Shopping and all outdoor leisure activities stop at curfew, and only short pet walks are prohibited. Working and commuting are allowed with a note from employers. Food deliveries, but not takeout, are also allowed, and there are fines for people who break the curfew. It is 9:22, -1, feeling more like -4. Let's hand things over to Patricia for a check on your weather. Hi, Patricia. We are mild into this weekend, but things feel more normal next week.
That's right. When you look ahead, you can definitely see what we have been anticipating. The temperatures will be more so on the seasonal side. And for the first night, I think, since 2021 began, we are set to see next weekend a potential of our first minus double-digit overnight low. So we'll slowly get there, but for now, it isn't about that. It's the exact opposite. I mean, we got to 4 degrees today. It's -1 again. This is like the fourth time it was -1 tonight. We keep seeing that flip-flop between 0 and -1, 0, -1. And that'll keep happening for the course of the night. And then we'll get you to 1 degree right at the top of the morning, continuing to climb all the way to +5 for tomorrow in the afternoon. We got a sun cloud mix. We are pleasant on the day. You did though see, and you can't see on screen now, I put some snowflakes in there because we will see potentially about a centimeter or so trace of snowfall as we head into the evening and the night for your Sunday, and a potential for some light snowflakes, especially more east and north of the city. 0 right now feels actually -7. There we go again, Jennifer. We're back up to 0. So this is the thing that keeps happening tonight, right? It's pretty stable, but the temperature can't make its mind up, only because the air mass is quite warm, and it is actually dominating the conversation of weather on this very eve. Nothing else really is. We are seeing decreasing clouds for us here, right here in the GTA, but a little bit of snowfall beginning to amplify off of the eastern and southeast shorelines of Lake Huron. It's affecting our friends through the St. Catharines region, but even further southwest of that, through London, through Middlesex region, through Windsor even. But snowfall also continuing to plummet our friends through our nation's capital. That all comes to an end, and we clear out significantly for your Sunday and into Monday especially. You're going to get the return of sunshine as well. There are no weather warnings in effect for all of Ontario, so nothing on its way, nothing to prepare for, just a little bit more of this warming trend, and then a snap to reality, a good 6 days from today? 7 maybe, up to Friday into Saturday. It though will feel -8 in the middle of your Wednesday, but I got some sunshine mix in there for you as well. We'll see snowfall exactly 1 to 3 centimeters, so we can actually call that snowfall, not flurries anymore. That'll all get washed away quickly, though, as we see wet flakes move in for your eve of Thursday. But then the active weather becomes a thing of the past. We got the sun returning for your Friday into the weekend. And then here's where we go, Jennifer, starting to talk about those seasonal values once again. And here it is, next Saturday night, potentially our first negative double-digit night that we've seen since we began the year. I'll leave it there. Back to you.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm too excited to reach that point, Patricia. I'm kind of enjoying the mildness right now.
I understand.
If only we could have a few more days of this, that would be golden.
You got a few more days.
Well, that's true. That's
right,
not
there.
too bad.
You got them, girl.
Okay.
Embrace them.
Thank you so much,
My
PJ.
pleasure. Okay, I'll see you soon.
All right, some sports news now. The Winnipeg Jets canceled their practice today due to a potential exposure to COVID-19. The team hasn't provided any other details. They're scheduled to visit the Leafs on Monday. Winnipeg has played 1 game so far, a 4-3 overtime win against the Flames on Thursday. Other teams had helped players out or canceled workouts due to suspected COVID-19 cases, and the Dallas Stars, well, they had their first 4 games postponed after 17 players tested positive for the coronavirus. 9:25 -1. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24. A look at this evening's top stories, plus more on your weather forecast with Patricia when we come back.
Help stop the spread of COVID-19. Avoid local travel. Exceptions are groceries, prescriptions, and medical appointments. COVID-19 can be deadly. Stop the spread. Stay at home. Learn more at ontario.ca/coronavirus.
At the scene of a double shooting near City Hall. At least 2 arrests and several tickets issued today at a protest against the Ford government's lockdown measures across the province. And mixed news on the vaccine front as Ontario beats some targets while Pfizer says it will miss its targets. CP24's Beatrice Baseman is following this story, and we'll have more coming up. It is 9:30 and 0 degrees from 299 Queen Street West. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24. Hello, I'm Jennifer Shum. We are live in Brampton, where 2 men have been injured in a shooting. CP24's Mark Liverman is on the scene. Mark.
Yeah, Jennifer, a lot of confusion in this double shooting. We know one victim is in life-threatening condition. The second victim has non-life-threatening injuries. But the big question at this point is if police are looking for a suspect. That's something they haven't said so far. And you can see in the distance there how far back, Jennifer, this scene goes. We're on Queen Street West right here, and you can see almost as far as the eye can see in that direction. They have street after street closed off. Police cars, crime scene tape blocking multiple intersections. I also want to point out in the distance there, my photographer Kevin pointed out, there's some glass on the road, and then next to that, there is what looks like an article of clothing. Don't know if that's evidence, if it happens to just be there, but it is kind of in the middle of the road, and that's where the heaviest concentration of police and police activity has been, at least from this vantage point. Police say around 6:30 they got a call for a shooting here near Queen and George. That is where they found one victim with non-life-threatening injuries. He was taken to a trauma center. Police say a second victim with life-threatening injuries was found at a local hospital. They do think both victims are somehow connected, but they haven't said exactly how so far. We also don't know at this point exactly how that second victim was brought to the hospital. But here's more from Peel Regional Police. Take a listen.
The area was thoroughly searched with the assistance of our tactical and canine units, as well as our Criminal Investigation Bureau and uniform officers. So this area has been thoroughly checked. So we do ask for any information from the public. They do come forward and contact our Criminal Investigative Bureau and our Crime Stoppers.
And Jennifer, something we spoke to Peel Regional Police about, and I can tell you firsthand from being here in this section of Brampton, there are a lot of businesses here, and because of that, most likely a lot of cameras, which could end up helping police quite a bit in this investigation. Back to you.
Yeah, let's hope it does. Thank you so much. Mark Liverman reporting live in Brampton. Well, the first week of Ontario's stay-at-home order saw police issuing tickets at 2 downtown protests. A large number of officers on hand at Yonge and Dundas Square, where people had gathered to demonstrate against pandemic restrictions. Under the current provincial rules, outdoor gatherings are limited to 5 people, so officers were removing people from the crowd one by one, giving them tickets. Now, those who didn't identify themselves were warned they would be taken into custody. 18 failed to comply. Charges were laid. Earlier, a crowd marched around Queen's Park and along downtown streets. Now, such protests have been held for months now, but this week it was rebranded as an essential exercise march. Police have laid criminal nuisance charges against 2 people they accuse of organizing 2 protests today. A third arrest was made for assaulting a police officer. 22-year-old Connor Chappelle also faces a count of obstructing police.
The thing is, we respect the people's lawful right to peacefully protest. But again, we've touched on the fact that it changes when there is an emergency order and a stay-at-home order set in place. And again, it's very, the rules are set out that there cannot be a large gathering of more than 5 people. And again, I will reiterate, our officers will be out and about responding to these calls. Any type of large gatherings, when it exceeds 5 people or more, our officers will enforce these laws and regulations.
Police say they will continue to respond to calls for large gatherings and will take steps to disperse them. They say they'll also issue tickets and summonses when there is evidence of non-compliance with provincial orders. The Halton Police Board has yet to make a decision about the issue of Chief Steve Tanner traveling to Florida in late December. The board has met for 15 hours over 2 days and says it will continue to examine the matter at a special meeting on Thursday. Tanner cleared his plan to travel with Oakville Mayor Rob Burton, who at the time was the chair of the police board. Burton stepped down from the board this past week, saying he should have recommended against the trip. It has been criticized by other elected officials in Halton and the police union. Ontario is reporting 3,056 new cases of COVID-19. This is up from the 2,998 reported yesterday. 903 of the new cases are in Toronto, 639 in Peel, 283 in York Region, 162 in Durham, and 152 in Ottawa. Nearly 73,900 tests were completed. And as of 8 p.m. yesterday, just under 190,000 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine were administered. Well, the first weekend of the province's stay-at-home order, but many people say they haven't noticed much of a difference from the pandemic restrictions that were already in place. There were lineups at many grocery stores. Now, going to a pharmacy, accessing healthcare services, and exercising are still allowed under the current restrictions.
It feels like this is a new normal that I don't know how I've gotten used to, but I somehow have.
Just groceries. It's been a couple weeks, so I just need to stock up the essentials at home.
Try to reduce my going to the store as much as possible.
I haven't been going out to do anything at all, really.
The associates were telling us to keep our distance as well, even though we are from the same household, which was reassuring that they know to speak to everybody about it.
An enforcement blitz is happening this weekend to make sure big box stores are complying with public health rules. Approximately 50 Ministry of Labor inspectors, as well as local bylaw and police officers, are checking stores in Toronto, Hamilton, Peel, York, and Durham.
I've said quite clearly that I won't hesitate to shut down any big box store or any business, quite frankly, that's not following the rules. There's no excuse for businesses anymore at this stage in the game to be breaking any rules or to not be following the health and safety protocols that are put out there.
Businesses and individuals can be fined $750 for not following protocols. Maximum fines are $100,000 for an individual or $10 million for a corporation. Now, criminal lawyer Ari Goldkind talked to us about the powers police have during this state of emergency.
It's a beautiful day out today. People may want to go for a walk, ostensibly for exercise, on a beautiful day, which is deemed essential. You're not going to have police officers pursuant to these directives stop you as you're walking and demand that you answer. That's something that, from my particular vantage point, is important because so many people were worried that they'd be stopped by police, not free to go, pulled over in a car, demanded to answer this or that question. And the Ford approach is very simple. If in doubt, don't go out.
The stay-at-home order is no doubt adding to the pressure that small businesses have already been under because of the pandemic. The provincial government points out there is financial and other support available through various programs, but some business owners say more help is needed.
$10,000 doesn't pay 1 month rent here, right? So we're just asking for a chance to survive, along with the many other small businesses. But anyone in 2020, that's the biggest gap in the funding, is that if you don't have financials in 2019, we have the same exact expenses as all the other restaurants, everyone else that has a small business, but we're being forced to pay it all without any support.
For those small businesses, less than 100 employees that are affected by the lockdown or severely restricted and have seen a revenue drop for existing businesses 20%, and we're accommodating new businesses as well as seasonal businesses. You can apply on an easy-to-use portal. Come to the portal, ontario.ca/COVID support, and apply for this grant, which is unconditional. You can use it for, if you qualify, you can use it for anything.
We are encouraging all of our members, small business owners across the province, to apply for this small business grant. $10,000 to $20,000 is not going to be anywhere close to enough to be able to ride out the next rough couple of months. But it is something and reasonably significant. The program's well designed, so credit to the government for putting this in place in face of some of their ridiculous rules and regulations that we continue to fight.
Ontario's top doctor has announced changes to the province's vaccine administration schedule in response to a delay of shipments of the Pfizer vaccine. In a statement, Dr. David Williams said long-term care and high-risk retirement home residents, essential caregivers, and staff will now receive their second dose in 21 to 27 days. All other healthcare workers who received the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine will get the second dose between 21 and 42 days. Those receiving the Moderna vaccine will stay on the dose schedule of 28 days.
And the approach here is that, first of all, everyone's going to get 2 doses of the vaccine. That's clear. And those who live and work in long-term care are going to get their second doses as per the schedule. So if it's the Moderna vaccine, it's at day 28. If it's the Pfizer vaccine, it's at day 21 after the first dose. If there are delays in people getting a second dose, it's going to be in those who are not in long-term care. And it will align with Health Canada's guidance, which is basically get that second dose as close to the schedule as possible. But if you have to delay because of supply chain issues, you can delay that up to a maximum of 42 days.
The delay in Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine shipments is because the company is expanding its manufacturing capacity at its European plant. This means only half of Canada's promised COVID-19 vaccine doses will arrive in the next month. More than 200,000 doses were expected in each of the next 2 weeks, and 1.4 million doses were expected in February. The delays are impacting all countries who have deals with Pfizer. Infectious disease specialist Dr. Anna Banerjee talked to us about the impact of vaccine delays.
So when you look at the effectiveness of the vaccine, for the first dose, it has a very high effectiveness, over 90%. And so the second dose, what it does is it increases the longevity of the immunity. So it's a booster. And so and technically, you know, with almost all vaccines, if you have a little bit delay of the second dose, it doesn't matter. And sometimes it's even better as far as longer term immunity.
The Federal Minister of Public Services and Procurement is commenting again today on the delivery delay of the COVID-19 vaccine. Anita Anand tweeting this: I understand and share the concerns of Canadians regarding the temporary delivery delay of Pfizer doses. Canada's shipment of Pfizer vaccines for the week of January 18th remains largely unaffected. We are once again in touch with representatives from Pfizer to reiterate firmly the importance for Canada to return to our regular delivery schedule as soon as possible. Pfizer assured us that it is in deploying all efforts to do just that. This is an evolving situation. As soon as updated information on the delivery of Pfizer doses for Canada is available, we will share it with Canadians. The province says 14,460 doses of a COVID-19 vaccine were administered in Ontario yesterday. So far, more than 189,000 shots have been given in Ontario, and more than 19,000 people have received both doses to complete vaccination. Infectious disease specialist Dr. Anna Banerjee talked to us about the rate of COVID-19 infection among school kids.
But I know now it's not safe. I mean, 20% of the kids that were tested were positive, and that's an alarming rate. And a lot of that could have been because families got together during the holiday season. The other thing is, they say that schools are safe, and there's like maybe 2 to 4% asymptomatic carriage in some of the schools when they did some random testing. However, a lot of the kids that have mild respiratory symptoms are not getting tested, with PCR. They were told basically stay at home, then go back to school. And so we really don't know what the actual rate of kids having COVID in schools are. And I suspect it's higher than we think.
9:43, sitting at the freezing mark. You're watching Toronto's breaking news, CP24. When we come back, a warning about more coronavirus variants appearing this year.
I'm not looking for
cases of the more contagious UK COVID-19 variant identified in Canada. The Public Health Agency of Canada is also reporting 2 cases of the South African variant as of yesterday. Reports of the new variants come as modeling shows Canada could see 10,000 new COVID-19 cases a day by the end of the month. A leading scientist with the Oxford Vaccine Group says there will be many more new strains in 2021. Professor Andrew Pollard says while it is unclear why new variants are emerging, they are being detected early, and that will help in developing new vaccines if required. At least 3 new strains have been detected so far, one in the UK, another in South Africa, and a third in Brazil. The European Union's drug regulator says confidential documents about COVID-19 vaccines stolen from its servers have been altered and leaked online. The European Medicines Agency says hackers obtained the documents on vaccine candidates. They add the documents have been manipulated in a way they say could undermine trust in the approval process. Experts warn that could have a significant negative impact on Europeans' health if they decide not to get vaccinated as a result. A criminal investigation into the hack is ongoing. While Washington, D.C. continues to beef up security with just a handful of days left until the presidential inauguration, all metro stations have been shut down and checkpoints have been set up in central Washington. The inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden will be held on January 20th, next Wednesday. The National Park Service announced the closure of the National Mall yesterday, and workers put up high fences around it. Up to 25,000 National Guard soldiers are expected to be at the event. CTV public safety analyst Chris Lewis spoke earlier about those security preparations.
Well, without a doubt, this is unprecedented. There's always been heightened security around an inauguration, particularly over more recent years as terrorism became, more of a fear in North America. But this is just unbelievable. I mean, 25,000 National Guard troops alone, and experts in the States have said that's more than were ever in Afghanistan or Iraq during the various wars. So this is big stuff. I mean, you hate to see it happen, but you can see why. After the ball got dropped and horrendous things happened on the 6th, they have no choice but to do this, obviously, and they know a lot more than we do in terms of intelligence information and investigations they have ongoing.
One person has been arrested in California after chemicals used to make explosives were found at an RV park. San Francisco police were called to the area yesterday. Residents were forced to leave their homes, and an entire neighborhood was shut down as police and FBI agents investigated. A person living in an RV at the site was taken into custody. 9:48 -1. This is Toronto's breaking news. CP24. Patricia will have your weather forecast when we come back.